Committee meeting, September 25th, 9:30 a.m. Looks like we've got most everybody here, so we're going to get started. We'll call to order and do a roll call, please.
Chair McCurvey,
Present.
Member Green,
Present.
Member Larissa Fry,
Present.
Member David Horowitz,
Present.
Member Katie Adams Pewitt,
Present.
and Member Sam Zins.
Here.
And let the record reflect that Rob is on vacation. Will not be here today. So we'll have to give him a good pass down, everyone. So this is a time for oral communications, opportunity to address the council or the downtown Porterville committee in any scheduled matter unless additional time is authorized. All commentary will be limited to 3 minutes. Do we have anybody that wants to address the committee officially? Seeing none, we will move on to scheduled matters. So welcome, everybody. It's great to have everybody here. We'll get started. I think we had an excellent meeting last time, and we're going to go through that, do a little bit of review to get back in the saddle, so to speak, because it's been a month. And we'll work again to have some homework assignments in between, but there's no homework due today, because we didn't sign up for anything. But as we go, we'd like to continue to do homework so we can move the process forward quickly. So the first thing on the scheduled matters is approval of the draft minutes. Now, I'd like to go through those minutes for a moment. You go back to page... That's page 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, we can get into this other one later. So anybody have any issues with the draft minutes? Anyone move to approve?
I do.
All right, we've got one motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second that.
We have a second. Let's call for the vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, we'll move on to scheduled matter number 2. This is where we left off, reviewing the prioritization of the downtown mission and vision concepts. We did bring our brainstorming session and print. It's up on the wall. We had a great brainstorming session. We're trying to reimagine downtown and rank those concepts to help us with our process to get downtown the mission and vision reset for the future. So if you go with me to the back of your pamphlet or your packet, we have those brainstorming topics. And I just want to say, Fernando, a great job putting this together for us and summarizing these. I went through them, and I don't know if you all have had a chance to go through them, but I'm just going to walk through them with the team just to refresh our memories, and then we're going to do a little brainstorming or ranking session together. So the first one on here is clean, safe, and welcoming environment. And then we listed some bullet points. The second one is arts, culture, and history. I think we might, touch on some of these in the meeting today, but I'm just going to go through them. This all looks to be very well done, Fernando. So if anybody sees anything they want to enhance here, this is where we left off. Number 3 was community, unity, and engagement. Number 4 was business success and support. I'm not going to go through all the bullets. And then number 5 was events and experience. And then number 6 was downtown as a destination. So those are all grouped really well. We can probably enhance those a little bit, but this is the starting point. I think we can probably discuss those in a little bit more detail, and then I want to do a little exercise with you all. So if you go back to number 1, I think we did some great discussions on parking. So we should probably talk about parking as a key element on something that we want to address as a foundational issue. On arts and culture, I want to share something with you guys. I have been working closely with the Daughters of the American Revolution and the museum through the Heritage Committee, and we have come up with a concept. I'm going to share that with you guys, and I'm going to ask you guys for some input on that before we go to the brainstorming session. But before that, I want to reiterate for those that are watching also that, and when we envisioned doing a downtown, reimagining downtown and restoring, like the Redo It Committee, restoring the idea of our downtown and refreshing that. We had anticipated needing to fix the roads and take care of the trees and paint the poles and get a lot of that stuff done. And fortunately, as we start this, we have already got most of the road finished. We're finishing the section near Olive soon. We got the trees in and the plumbing, and we're doing the painting on the poles that are still remaining. We did the intersections already. And then we're anticipating in Q1 of 2026 covering over the JCPenney area. So those projects are funded and moving and voted on. And so we are in a great position in this committee to really focus on downtown, not as much on the infrastructure part. But I really wanted to lay the foundation here and say, we're making great progress as a city towards the goals of this committee so that we won't have to address those things directly here. The big items, the big financial items too. A lot of money has been allocated for that and put towards that. So here's the thing that I wanted to share with you. Over the course of the last couple of months, and if you haven't gone out there to look at, there's a Daughters of the American Revolution put together a thing this past week for Constitution Week, and I was able to do some education at the community church, the Congregational Church over on Mill Street, the old Pioneer Church, about Constitution, meaning and purpose. There's certainly a great partnership that we've developed with Daughters of the American Revolution and Heritage, and that event is every year. They've been doing it for many years, but they have a flag event. So they present the flags from the American Revolution, and they tell the history of it. And we have the Boy Scouts there, we have Military Academy there. It's just a great event. What came out of those conversations and culminated last week was that we'd like to do something like that across Main Street all year next year. And so we're moving in the direction of ordering some flags in the Heritage Committee that will put all up and down Main Street, which are the old flags of our history. And so that's in process. We're hoping to get that done by the parade time, by Veterans Day. And the idea is very simple. We're going to take our history and put it on our flag poles alongside all of our veterans after we get the poles painted, and alongside some historical landmarks like in front of David's shop, Scotty's Chop House. I think there's 4 locations on this map that we're going to create, and we're going to have docents from the museum lead people around Porterville and teach them Porterville history and American history.
Awesome.
Now we're hoping to start that by November. And it should be a great way to get everyone down there and engaged in our downtown. We still have to flesh out when we'll do that, but we have already offered this to all of our schools and the school leadership. And we could have field trips to our downtown where we can have kids out there getting school credit and learning American history and learning about Porterville. So there's a great opportunity right in front of us. And this committee could do some discussions about this today, where how do we welcome, if we get a busload of kids down here, how do we welcome them down here and help them to feel like it's that family feel that we're trying to capture, right? So I want to leave that with you. I can just leave this as a homework item, because I want to meet again on this in October before we get to that point. And I want to get some ideas from you guys on how we might engage those folks that are coming down to visit our downtown. We'll still have some construction going on over the next month or so, but hopefully that will be done by the time the parade is completed and this will start to come together. Now, the plan is to do this all year to celebrate our 100-year charter anniversary for home rule, and also to celebrate American's birthday, 250, as part of restoring the vision of the new city council to restore the identity of our downtown and get the unity back in our community. So we are a big part of that. And so I want to give you guys some progress reports coming out of another committee, so you guys know where we're at. And as business owners, we can all talk with each other and see what we might do to embrace that as that becomes something that we do in November, hopefully, by the time the parade comes. So great news there, great partnerships forming. We've got resources and partnerships, and we'd really like to continue to develop that too, because when I was reading some of the history of Porterville recently, the Jeff Edwards books that Stan was kind enough to loan to me, and it occurred to me that I knew Jeff Edwards as a child. I used to play golf a lot. I never talked history with him. I was just a dumb kid.
So
So
I did love talking to you.
yeah. But in that book, there's some things in there, and Katie, you might find this interesting, and this is just a topic for discussion. And I'll go around and ask you guys for some input. There's always been opportunities on Main Street where there's buildings that are vacant or there's changes. It's always something that happens, probably on every Main Street. But there was, I think in Larissa, in your shop now today, there was a display because there was an empty building and nobody was using it. They displayed ships. They displayed the tall ships, right? And so it was a way to get people to come down and engage downtown and see something, but it was a temporary, it wasn't a permanent. So the idea here is if we have some locations as we go through that provide us an opportunity where we can house or host some things that support the museum, like the trains all year next year or something like that, they don't have a lot of space. And given that they're trying to partner with us and doing these history walks, it might be an opportunity for us to continue to collaborate and develop some more things like along those lines, like displaying the tall ships back in our history. So that connects us to our history as well. If we can continue to do that, was a best practice. All right, so I'm going to just key that up. The infrastructure is going well. The heritage is moving forward. We fit into that really well. And then before we get into setting the priorities, I'd like to open it up for a little bit of discussion and just see what you guys all think. I've been yammering for 5 minutes. Stan, you have any comments?
You're gonna yammering for 10 minutes.
Maybe 10. All right.
It's just something, I just wrote this down, and you were talking about once you get the poles painted and you get the military banners back up and you do the flags. I'm not real versed on like Civil War, some of the battle flag during the Revolutionary War. But I was just thinking, you're gonna teach these kids the history. What about doing some like United States Marine Corps flag?
And I'm glad you brought that up. All of our services will be celebrated
Right.
because we're a patriotic city. So that will be part of it.
Then there's
Yeah.
some other, there were some very famous brigades during the Civil, like the Irish Brigade that had their own flag that was green and had the Iron Brigade. And then, of course, there was the Michigan Cavalry Brigade that Mr. George.
It's a really cool
There's a lot of
thing.
things
It's very
that we could-
engaging to get those flags out. Now, I will take those notes and I will be meeting with those folks again and I'll bring that up and how we emphasize that. And that is definitely part of what we're going to do. We just got to make sure we keep the scope as we start to deploy. So good recommendation, great discussion. Thank you, Stan. Sam, do you have any input? What do you think?
I think it's a great idea having the placards on there, but there's a lot of other buildings that need to be recognized too, I believe. Like
Okay.
Subway is actually the Baker Block
Right?
back in the day, but there's no signage or anything displayed of that. Celebrating the old places like the old Frontier Club was very popular back in the day. That's where conferences at now. But there's
The old Pioneer Hotel.
Yep.
That was.
But there's quite a few buildings with a lot of history that are attached to it that I think should be recognized, other than just 4 locations in Porterville.
Okay, great suggestion. I wrote 2 down. Does anybody else have any other locations they can think of?
Where was the Pioneer Bank?
I don't know.
So in the corner of Main and
Oak,
Putnam.
Putnam.
It's the big one, it's still there.
Is it?
That would be good homework.
Okay, so here's how I'm gonna answer that. This is great input. We'll probably put some notes in there because we don't have placards and make sure that we emphasize those things. So I'll take that to you.
But like the Pioneer Hotel, that's where US Bank is now,
Mhm.
things of that nature. There's a lot of places that are recognized in our history of Porterville.
Yeah, and that was because there were so many people that came through. I mean, even when we only had, 800 people here, the 10,000 people a year would come through.
Yeah,
Porterville.
Main Street was the immigrant trail from here
Right.
to come through here to go.
And
through.
it was the weekend party place too. They could come in from the
Well, you
ranches.
probably know that, so.
Well, they come in from the ranches and get their steaks and their drinks and then their brothels and then head back out to the ranches to work their butts off for the next week.
So there's some other points of interest here. I wrote these down and I will carry that torch Any others? Katie, you have any comments?
No.
Yes.
I'm gonna pass.
Go ahead. Larissa, do you have anything to add?
I have some history someplace in my building about something that was where Woolworth was before it was Woolworth.
Okay,
Had something to do with Porter Putnam, but I would like to verify that before I.
Yeah, they were buying gold and stuff out of there. I have a picture of
Well,
your
look in
property.
that, in
Said there was a
the
chop
Main
shop,
Street,
but I'm
I
not
have-
sure if
see
it was
if
where
that,
I
see
had,
what
but it
was
in
there,
that
what
shop.
Jeff
I was-
has.
Yeah.
You were the chop shop.
Scotty's Chop House, yeah.
Their store.
Okay.
Store.
So-
Yeah, that's where
There's a
they-
Plaque out in front of
Right.
it now.
It used to be his house and they moved it over to Third Street, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a picture of the building when it was 2 stories.
I heard that it was on Third
Main
Street.
Spot for gold at
Either
that
before or
time and everything.
what we might do, and I'll make this suggestion, is that we have a pamphlet that's addition to the walk with the plaques that has other points of interest, and we can expand on it, then it won't be.
Even Morton Street School is right in the middle of the intersection of
Right.
Morton and Main,
Yeah.
and it later on went to Porterville High School. but
Did you go
things of
there?
that nature.
Did you go there,
Yeah,
Sam?
me and my brothers were there.
No kidding.
No.
Stan, you got me there. All right, so this is the kind of thing that we want to be talking about. This is excellent. Great discussion. Thank you very much. David, you have anything else?
I'm just gonna be honoring to stand and tell them that there was a large Jewish population here in 1900. They started the Pioneer Bank and the Pioneer Land Company, according to Jeff Edwards. But they were chased out of town by the KKK that was big here at that time.
Oh, yeah, the San Joaquin Valley was
Yeah.
really red hot during the Civil
It
War.
was. According to Jeff Edwards, a group of Jewish people came from San Francisco to invest in Porterville in the early 1900s, started the bank and the Pioneer Land Company. But they were selling land up by Murray Park, and word got out that Jewish people paid one price and non-Jewish or Gentiles, as we say, paid a higher price. So the KKK used that as a reason to go after us, so they sold everything off and left town.
And the rumor persists today.
I had to come back to represent.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Basements and tunnels, were the tunnels real?
You know, I don't know the answer to that. I will ask around. I don't know the
Because
answer.
that might be something that
A lot of
might
the
bring
rumor is
some
that it's because of the
interest.
slough. You know, you
Yeah.
go Underneath the slough, so that's where the rumor of the tunnels came. You can walk all in.
I've heard
And you can get under my
rumor after
building.
rumor.
You can get under my building, but there's no way to get to the buildings next to you.
Oh, I
I-
have some spots that are boarded up in mine, so I'm questioning, was that at one time?
And they go next door to each other. Like my first vault, it was tunneled in. When mine was a bank. They tunneled in from the neighbors, so there's a big hole in the basement floor where they went in and tunneled and then broke in to the top of the vault. Ripped it, stole everything out of the
So
vault.
many great stories.
I never heard that one.
Yes, back in Gibraltar, and then they moved to the corner store and made it Gibraltar Savings and Loans.
Right.
Later on.
I really wanted to tee that topic up. Sorry, you have anything else? Sam? And just get the juices flowing this morning. So I appreciate the stories, and we probably can add some things there. But let's move on to the prioritization. So I took the topics that we just went through and I put them up there. This is really simple. We're going to keep this very simple. These are the main topics with the bullets that are in your sheet. Now, this is common sense. We could probably just go in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I would like to ask you guys as a group to help me to prioritize these, and maybe we could shift the order. And so what I want to do is I want to ask you guys are all going to get 3 votes. And I'm just going to go around the room and then you get to vote on which one you think is the most important. And I'm going to tally those up, and that's going to help us to set the priorities. So Stan, I'm going to put you on the spot and tell me which one you think is most important.
I would start, and I don't know, I'm not gonna tell you that they're any particular order, the way I place them.
Just one, just pick one. Which one you think is the most
Oh, you
important?
want
I'm
to
gonna
do
come around,
one?
I'm gonna come around to you and
Okay,
give you another
all
vote.
right. How about, business success and support?
Okay, we got one here. All right, Sam, what do you think's your favorite or most important on this list? Number one. All right, Katie, what do you think?
Hold on.
Number one. Larissa.
3.
Number 3. David,
Well, I'm kind of with Stan, I'm stuck, but number 1 is very important to me.
okay, number 1, all right, and I am also gonna put one on number 1. Stan, you're up to vote
Yeah,
number 2.
I'll go number 1 also.
You go on, all right, that's Stan's
Yeah,
vote number
that's
2.
important.
Sam,
2.
number 2. Katie,
4.
number 4. Larissa,
1.
wow. Dave,
3.
number 3. I don't know, it's starting to emerge. All right, arts, culture, and history, I like that one. This your 3rd vote,
That's number 2.
all right? Sam,
Since I'm going in order, guess I'll pick number 3.
all right, number 3.
3.
Number 3.
Katie's copying me.
5.
Number 5 gets a vote.
And I'm on 5 with her.
Okay. And then I'll pick downtown. All right, so it came out almost exactly the way we listed them. But it's important to just go through that exercise and just think about it objectively and go through that, because now we're putting that emphasis, and even for the public to see this too, is that we think this is the most important thing. And we all know this, it's intuitive, but we're all getting together and brainstorming it. We're like thinking about it, and it stays number 1. So thank you very much for that. So we will make these our priorities. And what I'd like to do now, after we go through this and summarize this, it'll keep us on track. We like to go into goals and objectives and coordination. So we're gonna move on to number 3. We just finished number 2, Fernando.
Yes.
We're moving on to number 3. So the hard part of all of this, it's easy to talk about concepts, priorities, and all these things, but how do we get these things done, right? So we're going to start to get into some areas where we need to be more practical about getting some things done. And then we're going to have to break them in pieces, and we're going to have to talk about what's a short-term goal and what's a long-term goal based on how much effort it's going to take, or maybe how much money, because we might have a financial impact with some of these. But I wanted to make sure that we have a chance to just lay this foundation together and then start setting the goals together and setting the priorities of those goals, so that when we can go back to the council and say, here's what the downtown committee needs, get them to vote on it. And if there's some funds that we need or some direction that we need, we can get the council to get behind the committee's recommendations and start moving forward. I would tell you that I think my opinion here is, to try to influence you guys' discussion, and then I'll open it up, is that we have a short term between now and the end of the year that we need to be thinking about, because we can get some things done now. And then we have, I think, a lot of deliverables that we really want to push, that we could start pushing in January. So there's some things we can probably get done now, some things that we can get done in January, and then maybe again, middle of next year. So just to keep you guys thinking about that in that direction. What do you think about that direction, Sam?
Good.
No problem. Dave, you okay?
I'm good with it.
No comments? Katie?
Great.
All right. Stan?
I'm with the girls.
Okay. Gonna keep an eye on you.
Watch me real hard.
Marissa, any comments?
Maybe in a bit. I haven't thought. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So, I think that any goals that we set, of course, are going to roll up to this, right? So in the short term, we could set some parameters around what does it mean to be clean and safe and welcoming? What can we do? We don't have to come up with goals in today's session. We can go back and set some goals and come back in the next session as a homework assignment. And if you give the chance to look at some of these goals, how far do you guys want to go?
What do you mean?
As far as setting some goals and get down to the brass tacks. How are we going to accomplish this number 1 that we all voted most important? Do we want to start on that? Maybe set some goals today?
I think that'd be great.
Yes.
All right.
Think evaluating the concepts of it and then
Okay.
depending on if it needs to marinate with and revisit, or we can actually publish it.
So. Maybe we'll tackle one right here today. And I made this form so we can start setting some goals. What does it mean, or what do you guys think a good goal would be? You guys are down there for cleanliness, safe and welcoming.
I have a ever-ending question of how do we get rid of the homeless and guy living outside my store?
Okay, so homelessness is still a #1 priority.
He's just not inviting when people park in the back.
You know, your customers don't like when they come on deck for stuff.
This is the worst. He's like living there. He lays in the parking stalls. And then they think he's dead.
We have ours too. It's not.
They want to kick him just to make sure.
He's living out there. He's there.
And a little further down from you in the back alley, they've got where they're selling their drugs and stuff by the,
Constantly.
yeah.
So my suggestion is something that the city could work with and help us out a lot with is that pretty much what I understand is that anybody arrested in Tulare County, if they are homeless, they are taken to the South Valley Detention Facility
Yep.
and they are released in the parking lot directly behind us. We constantly have sheriff vans pulling up, taking their handcuffs off, letting them go. They drive away and they start looking in all the cars. And it's like, it's a daily thing that happens. And I understand that it's because of the bus station is right there. But I've seen them there at 9 o'clock at night. We don't even have buses. And the sheriff's dropping them off. And then the business owners are left to deal with it. Is there another place that we could drop them off at? Is there a group that can relocate them? That can take them back to their house?
Interestingly enough, but I know they dropped them off in Strathmore too. It's,
They must have a lot.
they're
of
spreading them out because
frequent our
they're,
parking lot a lot.
Drop them off where they were picked up. So if they were picked up in Strathmore, they had to be returned to Strathmore. If they picked up in Porterville, now, not to say they have to be returned to Main Street, Porterville, but maybe the ones that are picked up.
I know firsthand they're not doing that. Has not been Strathmore, doesn't know where she was picked. So I know.
Sam's a good point. I will volunteer. Any other comments on homelessness? I will volunteer to tackle this item and bring back some report on this one.
There was, at one point, there was discussion of having a, beat hub, for lack of a better way, that would walk the streets and they were gonna use the cannabis money. And I think having that, I did see one walking the other night as I was having dinner at Sam's, that was walking Main Street at 8 o'clock at night, and it actually brought attention to everybody's, either thought something was going on because it's a rare occurrence. But I think if that happens, you're going to see these individuals maybe retreat from Main Street because they don't want to encounter the police on a regular basis.
So enforcement, what do you guys see? I mean, you guys see this more than most because you're down there. Is there a particular time?
24 hours.
It's all the time? I mean, this is like broad
I will
scope.
tell you, one morning I came to work and the police department came, 2 officers said police on the back of their shirt, looked like SWAT team type of paraphernalia they had on. And they were in like this little Ranger. They weren't in a cop car and they were just perusing up and down. I've seen them one time. I thought maybe it was a new addition and that I thought could be effective. And they do stop and talk to the homeless people.
That's the SMART team, I think, is
They
out.
did engage.
That's Smartalizing the Ranger, yeah.
They did, it's called a Ranger?
Yeah, the Polaris Ranger, that's the SMART team.
I have seen them and they did stop and acknowledge the homeless individual. So I thought, I thought it wasn't a bad situation, it was a good situation, but they were out and in.
We all know it's gotten better, but now we have to make it even better.
Correct.
And so what I really like this discussion, it's sensitive sometimes because we really care for these folks, but we have to secure this for our city, for our downtown, for our families and for this vision. So great discussion. We'll try to narrow that down. I will go back and see what I can do with this as a short-term goal right away because we want to continue what we're already doing.
Yeah, it doesn't help when they're walking downtown, blasting explosives. And you can hear them a block away and your customers are just looking like, okay, am I gonna get attacked?
He's everywhere.
But it's not just one, there's 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, there is, but there's that
There's
Richard's the worst.
Richard is pretty bad. But Richard, I mean, honestly, Richard is harmless, but he's,
Yeah, but he's scared.
he is scary.
Listen, the women from the Zumba,
Yeah.
Richard has.
they were down to 4 members because he had gone and
He,
one woman went to the gun shop to find out what she had to do to buy a gun.
he
Yeah, so,
engages,
yes.
He does engage.
he engages people and he walks up politely and starts a conversation and then he goes and it scares.
Themselves, cussing, going
Okay.
off.
Yeah,
Yeah, the full levy, they're scared to death of him. He goes in there 5 times a day, they said.
All right, so I'll bring a report back to you guys as a short term, right? So we don't, this one's harder to quantify because we don't have numbers to quantify our success, but we really want a zero tolerance. That's our goal. I don't know how far we're gonna get towards that, but I think it's the right discussion. It's why it's number one. Do you guys think that, how far out? I mean, I think we should include the alleyways and go out like we have on our downtown district to go out a little bit further to have like, this is our downtown zone and this is where we're gonna have additional enforcement. Is that?
I think you have to.
Sound right?
What, Second Street?
And D.
And D Street.
Yeah, I would think
If
so.
you look back in the records, when we did have a downtown organization, it was Second Street, Main Street, and D Street. That's what kind of ended things, was the people over on D Street were complaining about having to pay the extra for their business license to fund that organization because they said, well, we're not on Main Street, but they're still part of the downtown area.
Yeah.
So,
And we spend a lot of, the city spends a lot of resources already on this particular area to include a lot of additional infrastructure. So we have to protect it. And we got to make sure that this zone is maintained in that way. So this is all good, short term. What other things can we do? This is an opportunity for us to talk about how we might do other things besides just focus on.
well, I'm gonna be honoring because I saw parking lot up there. So I'm gonna push my agenda again about, we need to make it where handicap vans can come downtown. Right now, they can't. There's no place for a van to pull up, open the side doors and put the ramp down because there's curbs.
that comes
So
up
I have a good friend of mine
daily.
related to Clayton that she's complained to me several times because her son's in a wheelchair. And she can't come to the vault with him. She can't go to the palace. And she frequents your establishments, loves them. But she can't take her son because there's the closest place is back behind the jewelry store there in that parking lot, in front of the old Landing 13. That's the only real place for a van. And that's a long way for her to have to push a wheelchair from back there all the way out on Main Street and then down to wherever she wants to go. Is there some way? I know we have the handicap spots on the corners. Is there some way that the curbs could be redone so that they're lower in where the handicap section is so that they can get a ramp down?
Like outside of the city building here.
Yes.
That would be engineering that would tackle that design.
David, we just did downtown. So you're talking about a side street, or you want to redo what we just did?
Well, I mean, it'd be foolish to tear up what we just did. I tried to suggest it before they did it. Which those planters in the middle of Main in each block, if we wouldn't have put those in, we could have had 2 parking spaces and made that a handicap spot. But by putting those in, it took that away. So would it be less expensive to redo the curbs?
Well, we just want to be, I'm not talking
I-
about expense, I'm trying about practicality.
Either one will work because there's handicap spots on every corner. But we've got to have handicap locations where people with vans that are in wheelchairs can come downtown and do business. They're just as important as non-handicapped people.
A van stall is significantly larger than just a handicap stall, so then it requires
Right, you got,
level and all that stuff. So yeah, again, engineering would have to design that.
Have you thought about what's the distance between
it's 1 block if you did the ones on the corner,
you know,
if that's possible. I don't know, I'm just talking here. But if you did the corner ones, then the most they're gonna have to do is wheelchair somebody a block up to the other middle of the block somewhere.
What about putting
Well,
ramps?
every other block,
What
because
about-
if you park here, then you could go to this block or that block, to that block. So it'd be every other
That
block.
would work.
What about putting a ramp in next to the, like, at the end of each block where the flower boxes are? You could do a ramp that goes down next to the parking stall and just make that a double parking stall for that ramp to come out on your ramp to get you onto the curb. You're not tearing up side curbs. You're not, it's just an addition of a cement ramp
Yeah.
that meets ADA qualifications, but you just take away one parking stall, so it makes it a van accessible unit.
Yeah.
And it's an addition
Or around.
next to the flower boxes.
And
It's not,
maybe make a sign where it's only that way during the, like, 9 to 5 or.
no, because someone
No,
else,
because then
You got-
they wanna come and have dinner,
you wanna have dinner.
you know,
Yeah.
so
It is a
But
constant
we do-
complaint about parking.
there's a parking issue at every downtown. But we have plenty of parking spaces for people who are capable of walking. They can park in the back parking lots, you know.
And they
and-
can walk up my.
Right, it amazes me that people will go park in the outside parking space of a mall and walk all the way into the mall and then walk all the way through the mall to get to a store. But they'll complain about parking 1 block away from the jewelry store. Oh, I had to park on the next block.
Couldn't find any parking.
Yeah, it's, some of it's ridiculous, but the handicapped issue is for real.
No, the handicap issue, and we don't need it on every corner. It can be.
I didn't,
One
and I
block.
agree, I'm just talking, cause
Yeah.
I don't know, I mean, I've never designed a downtown district, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a jeweler, ask me about diamond rings.
I didn't really want to block.
But we do need that available, so people can come and do business downtown. We want money from everybody, not just the people that are in good health.
Yeah, friend or foe get the dough, right?
That's right, come on, now we're in business to earn a living.
All right, so I got 2 on here, short term. We'll go back and look for some engineering options and see what we can do. Got some ideas that are flowing here. We need to go back and look at what type of options we have to step up the enforcement in this area to keep it clean. The parking lot was just, if we come up with an idea, it doesn't really fit the scope of the meeting, I was gonna put it over here for.
So we're being a literal parking
No.
lot. This is where you're parking ideas.
Okay, I was gonna park some ideas here, but, all right, so clean, safe and welcoming. We'll stay on this one. We got safe spaces, family friendly and parking behind buildings. So let's continue down this and talk about parking now that we're on handicap parking. When I was looking at the map, we have quite a bit of parking. And so one of the things that we talked about before in the previous meeting was getting people to get the idea that park behind as a priority over park, to reset the expectations of parking downtown. And I don't know what the answer is to that, but we know we have that out there, and we have to talk about this and set a goal. That has to be a goal.
I would also say,
It has to be clean.
yes,
Has to be
I
safe.
park off Main Street and walk by these nasty dumpsters where either somebody has defecated or
Continuously.
continuously, so you have this odor. I mean, if I was a business owner, I wouldn't want to park next to it.
Behind Subway, it's
There you
horrible.
go.
Behind Subway is
Behind
horrible,
Mega, it's horrible.
and they go through,
Behind ours.
and maybe a change in trash cans that prevent, I mean, it's hard to put locks on trash cans, I've tried doing it. But maybe it's a design thing where you can only put a bag of trash through a hole and you can't lift the lid up and throw everything out on the thing and walk away and you've got food there. And stinky rotten feces and everything else.
Okay, so I'm here, I'm taking this all in. Let me restate
But it's
this
not
a
just
little bit.
alleyways, it's parking.
So we wanted to, we all agree that we want to use the parking that we have. But there's a problem in between the parking that we have and where we need people to go. The pathway to get to Main Street is sometimes going down the alleyway or walking through the alleyway. So our focus to get to our goal is gonna be to secure the alleyways and keep them clean.
Lot
If
of,
we do that, then this becomes an option. If we don't do that, then this is not gonna work.
lot of it's public dumping, because there's no place, there's no dump anymore. So there's
Right.
washing machines behind my place, there's all kinds of stuff.
There's two Can put church pews behind Stafford's right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They just, people drive up, dump their trash and dump it.
Church pews,
Long church pews.
well, you would think church people would know better than to dump.
You would think, but we walked by them last night and it was like.
That's ridiculous.
They're David's.
Yeah.
I gotta put that in the parking lot.
Maybe it's a resting spot for those walking down the alleyway. Maybe
Could be.
place for the homeless to sleep, where they're not sleeping on our front porches, they're sleeping in the back alleys. Were they sleeping? Nobody was there. They were over your building that week.
Robin different.
Okay, so I heard cleanliness. I heard that we might need to review trash cans
Correct.
or trash.
But
pickup.
it's an issue with
It's
the,
trash pickup, because
It's-
I mean,
it's-
those bins get picked up 3 days, three days a week.
There's a lot of dumpster diving going on.
Yeah.
yes, that's what she's talking
And they
about.
just throw the trash all over
And
the
they
ground.
pull it out, I've yelled at several people, well, they pull it out and throw it on the ground. And then they'll take the cans that they want or the bottles of water. And the food if they can eat, if they want to eat it. And then they just leave whatever's on the ground, you know, and. I've had run-ins with a couple, I had to call the police the other day because there was a dude smoking crack out in the back. By the trash can behind us. And I heard a noise, I looked out my back door and he's got a pipe and he's going at it, you know?
Okay, so when we talk about homeless solutions, I have to go back and if you guys agree with me. Because it keeps coming up. There's some crime here. That's making it so it's not clean and it's not safe. Right, so crime has to be part of this.
Well, I think if you address the homeless issue, some of the cleanliness will take care of itself, but not all of it, because
But not
not
all.
all of these people are homeless, they are scavenging for cans and recyclables.
Okay.
And the ones I've seen really don't make a mess, they've got their long poker sticks and whatever. I don't see them thrown out.
I've got one that cleans it up when he leaves.
Yeah, I
The guy
think
with the
it's,
mohawk, he picks up after himself.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's all time.
some.
And you have a whole variety of people you're dealing with, that's part of the problem, it's not that easy, because. Some people you can talk to and reason with, and other people you can't.
Well, I think we could all agree on these 3 items here, and let's add more if we need to, but this is how we're going to get to the parking issue. This is how we're gonna continue to secure it for the current businesses, so the Zumba ladies can increase again. And so I like these items. So we've got this, some sort of enforcement. And we got some sort of an issue with access for handicap. And we got some sort of an issue here with focusing on the alleyways and the pathways to get to Main Street from behind Main Street. And that might mean that we have to review some of the dumpsters. I know there's some down D Street in those areas where a lot of trash comes out of there because they're not like our friend that's putting things back. They're leaving it out there. So I think we have some enclosure opportunities there possibly that we could explore. So I could take that back and talk to the city about that. I mean, Donnie, any opportunities that you're hearing from this discussion about dumpsters and alleyways?
I mean, I know the newer trash cans have that same kind of, they've helped some where you don't have it open, it's kind of more secure. You have to kind of put something in. So it's harder for them to like take a bag out and go through all that stuff.
The ones on the
But
corner,
we still
yeah,
have it works really well at
Yeah.
keeping Main Street more clean,
yes.
but it's the big
The
dumpsters.
behind-
in the back.
Yeah, the big issue, like Sam pointed out, is there's no dump around here anymore. And people don't wanna drive to the dump where they can, so at night they come and fill up our dumpsters. And they don't care if they overfill them. They just wanna get rid of everything.
Yeah, I got a nice washing machine in mine back there if you need it.
And then it becomes our problem.
Yeah,
But they won't
because
pick it up.
No, they won't take it out.
It's everywhere. I've seen it. I think they're doing that in Murray Park. Yeah, on Monday morning, garbage cans are overflowing. It's like,
yeah, wherever they can dump, they're
wherever
dumping.
they can dump, they're bringing it in there and leaving it.
So let's open this up to some of our guests here. Clayton, in the code enforcement realm, do you think that we could apply some resources to help with these items?
Absolutely.
Would that be, we have any suggestions, any comments?
I mean, I just asked my staff because they have Tommy lifts to go pick up the church pews because I don't think refuse will grab them with the big truck. Hey, if they're there and they're blocking anything or just load them in the trucks and go. I mean, we could do that kind of stuff. The issue that I run into with code enforcement picking things up is who's going to pay for the disposal, right? Now, a washing machine or something like that, our trucks are equipped to grab that stuff and take it because they were designed for shopping carts primarily. Cleaning that stuff up. So we could do that if we had an area designated, say at the city yard where we could place those items, then they could be properly disposed of, not to encourage people, but I think if they're left out, they become an attractive nuisance for more. And so, if not necessarily that I am assigning them to specifically go out based on complaints, but I could, like with shopping carts, hey, if you're out and about and you see it, stop and load it up and get it out of there. The same idea.
Do you see any opportunities with how you might help us with the downtown area and any of these topics we talked about so far?
I mean, as far as homeless solutions, I think the SMART team is doing a fantastic job. As you've indicated, you see them out engaging with the homeless people. I know that as a citizen, I had mentioned to Mr. Townsend about potentially creating a county regulation ordinance rule that requires the individuals who are arrested, for example, in Tulare, be returned to Tulare. They're returned to the area where they were arrested. Because I do know that they are just let out here. And so, that's an idea that might help with that. As far as, like I said, as far as code enforcement, we've always been adaptable to whatever council's priorities are. And so we absolutely can incorporate, to the best of our abilities and staffing levels to get out there and help out wherever we can.
Okay, well, I mean, our answer isn't always code enforcement.
I understand.
I wanted to give you a chance to weigh in on this.
Your SMART team,
The SMART team the police department SMART team.
is that part of code enforcement?
No,
It's part of
those are police officers. It's the special methods and resources team.
Okay.
So not only is it comprised of police officers, but they also have a liaison to
Okay.
help with getting resources for the homeless, getting them into places. And so she goes around with the officers to try to help with that. Now we assist them and they assist us on things as far as code enforcement.
We used to see them both walking.
Are
in
they
the mornings,
full-time?
but-
Yeah.
Yeah, they're full-time, they're staffed, and then even, over the summer, they took the school resource officers and put them on the SMART team because the schools were closed to expand their patrol hours and availability.
So I
So
think that's a big part of why we don't see them quite as much anymore. 'Cause-
correct. And I think you maybe noticed that big push when school got out all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It started because they were able to go longer hours, later hours, they had more personnel to put it, but then when school gets back in now, those school resource officers have to go back to the schools. So, but they do have, it's dedicated, a team that's dedicated specifically to that. They're on a first name basis. Like when it comes to fires, the first thing I do is reach out to the individuals on the SMART team and I'm like, hey, do you recognize this person? And usually within minutes, they're back like, yeah, we know who it is and where he is. When are you ready to go get him? Right. So there's good working relationships that code enforcement has with the police department and vice versa. We assist them, they assist us. So.
Well, I think that we'll have to the takeaway will be to go and work on those issues and make them better than they are today. And that's what this committee is looking for. And we'll look at options for how we might do that from the limited resources that we have, right? But because this is a focal point, that's got to be something that we figure out maybe some new approaches and some new solutions. So I'll just leave that topic there because it's a complex topic, but I think we're all focused on the same thing here. And so thank you for that input, Clayton. I appreciate it. All right, so we got some good progress here on number 1. It's the one we voted was most important. Welcoming. I know that if we do these things, it'll be more welcoming, especially for the handicapped folks and those things. If you can think of any other things before we move on.
Regular customers, it'd be great to make it welcoming. I mean, you look at the casino, they have private property, so they can ask anybody they want to leave. We don't have that option. We have to deal with everybody that comes through and walks down our streets. yeah, it'd be a lot more welcoming if we could just take care of the crime that we have down right now.
Okay, good comment.
Maybe we should bring in a National Guard.
We'll have a surge.
You call
I'm on a first.
I'm gonna put that one in the parking lot, David. You're gonna be over here a lot. Okay, great discussion. So I think that we could really get down into the weeds on some of these items. But you know, we're at about an hour, so let's see what else we want to cover today before we go tackle anything else.
them. Can I interject something?
Again?
We're running short-term goals. We're running out of year. Is it possible to coordinate some sort of a Christmas night downtown, or we could have Santa in the park? I'm just throwing it out there. This might not be the right time for it. But to coordinate an event, to keep businesses open late.
Isn't that the Christmas tree lighting when we just pair on
We
top of
talked
that?
about it a little bit last time. I'm just wondering, how do we organize it in a way that we could get the advertising?
David, you're excused.
David
for
would
5
like to
minutes.
include the Jewish holiday.
You can-
Okay, so we're gonna move on from number 3 to number 4, which is partnerships and events. You're right on target with the flow today.
I just don't wanna run out of time.
I know. Well, we can go over a little bit if we need to, but let's get through that because maybe a homework assignment would be to do that in addition to what we already have planned. Because I think this team would be open to that if we're gonna be bringing docents down to teach and maybe we can have an event that's new. But it has to be something that is simple to get started, of
Because
course.
we're running out of time.
Yeah.
And then I have one more little thing to inject. You have a wonderful banner out front of this building that kind of cohesively coordinates the park to the city, which is awesome. I love it. It's beautiful and it changes. My thought, is there any way to maybe get one more down where businesses are to unify the longevity of, I'm just throwing it out there because.
No,
I feel
no,
like
we had
it's
the
so far
discussion
away
before.
from us, we don't see it, and the business is down there. I'm just bringing it up.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, like when they used to hold the events, they were held down towards where the businesses are. Now they're all held at Centennial Park,
Which is away.
which is away from the businesses, so it doesn't do us the benefits that we would like it to. Because the neat thing is when you've got it the whole Main Street, they're walking up and down there seeing our businesses. I used to get a lot of traffic during the events where they'd come in to clean their jewelry and then the wife would point out a pair of earrings or necklace or whatever. And then 4 months later, the husband's like, "Hey, Dave, you saw that necklace my wife looked at? You know, it's my anniversary next week. Yeah, come on down." So it plants seeds for us.
Okay, so I'm gonna regurgitate this. We had a lot of discussions about this already. There's a financial,
Correct. And the
Opportunity
Christmas is
there.
coming and they put the Christmas up.
I think
and it's
that'll all be
beautiful
good.
All the way down.
so what I put on here is I put future. Because a couple things I've noticed is, one, we all want it, but it's gonna take some investment to do. But we also know that as we have events for the parades, we're going down past all of that.
Correct.
And we're going down towards the south, and so we're working on lights down there. So maybe there's an opportunity to do this in the near future because the parade's now going down past Olive, and so I'm gonna put that here as an additional banner pole, Olive and Main, that kind of centers the downtown, but as a future item, and I'll see what we might be able to work with on that. But I think it's a good suggestion. Because to David's point, it'll help us to advertise, but it gives us this area where this is the downtown area. And you know, it goes beyond that, but it centers, this is where it is. And it's a good thing. So what we talked about in the last meeting, which I think would also be along those lines, is to have a marquee, right? We have one that we put on Prospect by the yard. I don't know how much that cost, Donnie.
About 10 years ago when we did it, it was probably 60,000.
Okay. So I'm gonna add that over here too as an infrastructure too, so a marquee, because this is something we all agree is probably
Yeah.
something that could be very
Our
useful.
communication with all the businesses with the cities is not very good. We're still missing a lot of things. We had a thing in the park last weekend or I had no idea anything about it.
The mariachi thing?
No, a bunch of banners, college, and I couldn't tell you what it was. I don't know what it was, but the entire park was filled up. And it had a lot of people over there, but I had no idea what was even going on. My customers are coming in and going, what's going on down there?
So we'll
I love to
have,
promote it, but.
I didn't know either. I didn't
Yeah, I know they
know.
have big thing at Centennial Park.
we might have a banner issue there. If you get a marquee and you only put it down here by the park, where would you guys like to see a marquee? Where would it make the most sense? By the park?
Sort of at a park.
Okay. Cause it's center of downtown? Okay,
I don't know that it's center of downtown, but at least it's city. It's city of Porterville, it's the park.
And it's very visible right there, cause
It
there's
is.
not a bunch of buildings and stuff gonna be around it, so by having it,
Visibility.
yeah, but
Yeah.
having it where people see it well is important. I know it is kind of nice, the museum has one.
Yeah.
And they'll thank people for making donations and different things, so that's kind of cool that people get to see this business help the museum, this business help the museum.
Yeah.
I always know the time and the temperature
People
because I drive down by San Joaquin Valley College right there.
Yeah,
So that's another place that's very visible.
I wonder who owns it, that's owned by San Joaquin Valley, huh?
It's in their parking lot.
okay, good comments. All right. So let's keep that as an ongoing conversation. Number 5 is coordination of fall and holiday events. And review the season events to improve coordination and public engagement. Which is the flow, we've got a good flow here.
No. Downtown Exeter does a great seasonal event, starting about now. They actually expanded it this year because they revived their farmers market every Wednesday. And the businesses all agreed they would stay open an extra hour or 2 hours while the farmer market was going, but businesses would stay open. It was one night a week. And then during the holiday seasons, they do the same thing. They do one night a week where the businesses all agree for holiday shoppers that they would extend their hours. And it was, some of the offices that are more business related probably aren't participating, but I've gone shopping at 6 o'clock at night at Exeter Mercantile. It's nice to be able to stay open for the people who don't get off until 5 o'clock. So that might be something as far as coordinating with events. Just have a extended shopping event
We used to
But
do that
we had-
when they had the art walk.
when they had the art walk. Which was only one time a year, but if we did it, I don't know, every Thursday until after Christmas. And if you wanted to have Santa, you could do photos with Santa one evening and it could rotate, or photos with the Grinch, or you can have your own theme with whatever you wanted to do to help bring customers in during
They
that.
used to stay open every Thursday night to Sunday.
We did, when the art walk was once a week,
Oh, okay.
and so we were open for that.
For that,
And people could go serve hors d'oeuvres or whatever in their
Right.
businesses and. It would have different artists come and display their art. I had several different artists display. I actually bought a painting for one of them because my wife loved it. I got stuck buying a painting. The things we do to keep our wives happy, right? But we need to do more events. That's my biggest thing. We used to have events like once a month at least, it seemed like when I first moved here. Now I have an event, twice a year.
I think it's hard because, trying to coordinate those events, you've got to
And
have the resources to do it. When we did our block party, I spent 3 months working on a 1-day event, trying to get everybody on board. So as a business owner, it's time consuming to be able to develop those.
Yeah, back
resources.
then we had the downtown organization and we had a director who did all that. That was why we paid extra on our
Right. On your license,
business license, was to pay their salary.
right?
And so they could go out during the day and do that legwork to get everything prepared.
Good question. Are other organizations limited to how many events they can have a year? I'm asking in regard to redo it. Or is there a limit? Can we maybe make it when they could have I think it's 4. Can we have more than 4 so
I-
that somebody else is organizing some events?
I think that's a misunderstanding. The 4 came from charitable car washes.
Oh,
They
okay.
were allowed to have 4 each nonprofit, because essentially what happened is with the charitable car washes, they were unlawful. People were coming in, making a bunch of money and doing a bunch of stuff, lying to the community, playing on their sympathies. And so what happened is the ordinance came in for the charitable car washes to say, you need to be associated with a nonprofit to hold this. And so what the city did was the nonprofits essentially became the sponsors of these car washes. So, and that's where it was limited to 4 times per location, 4 times per nonprofit per year. I think when it comes to temporary use permits and things of that nature, community civic events, there isn't a limit on the number.
If we do a committee, wanted to do a monthly downtown something.
Yeah.
There's not.
Yeah, that's
I
not
don't
the-
believe there's a
the-
limit.
The limit was associated with the charitable car washes specifically, so that it didn't become an alternative business
If I could
model
add-
for someone to come in and do that, yeah.
I could add, that would be under community civic event applications. And it would go through our finance department and approve our city council. So it's gonna be depending on the application, making sure you submit in a timely manner, that way you can reserve it for that specific
So
date.
you would have to have it,
Submit it at least 30 days prior to the event.
and is there a way to do it? And maybe this goes to council, where you do one application and you say
6 events, 6 months?
the 3rd Thursday of every month for the next 12 months, instead of having to go through council to get approval for each individual event.
We wanted to have a farmer's market on Friday night.
Yeah, I don't see how that's not a.
Yeah, as long as the application is clear and it outlines that these events are similar in nature, you're not like, hey, once we're gonna do a farmer's market and then we're gonna have a car show and then we're gonna bring in bands and that kind of broadens. But if you were specific to say, hey, for example, a farmer's market, we're gonna have 4 farmers markets throughout the year, one each quarter. I think the council could then review that permit and then they would have the authority to approve, hey, these 4 events on these days, or however many, yeah.
We could
Yeah.
structure. So it does, that being said, segue into, do you need a nonprofit to support it since it's a community civic event?
That would be a question for our finance department.
I mean, if it's not a money-making event, because obviously it's a nonprofit that's doing this, and it's a community event, whether it's a block party or whether it's holiday in the park,
I think it depends on whether we're gonna close down.
Public, yeah,
public
yes.
streets.
Right, because if we close down the streets, that's extra. There's a lot of resources that go to it, but if we had an event that's a walking event
Okay.
and it's during regular business hours and things, I don't think you really have to be that regulated. We could do a lot with that, right? So, but if it's a close down the street, that's why this process is in place, I believe. Am I speaking correctly on that?
Typically, a civic event usually is attached to a nonprofit, but if the city is like a co-sponsor of it in some way, then that's kind of how we could get around.
But if we're not shutting down the street, then it's really just,
Then it's-
hey, we're all getting
If we're not
together.
shutting down the street, we're just planning a event, then we really don't need a permit process.
If there's no expectation that you're going to reserve portions of the sidewalk, you're gonna, block off other access to public, access.
Right,
I would say that would essentially fall under the temporary use permit for the businesses. There's the community civic event, which incorporates public property and public resources, and then there's the temporary event that is basically private property. For example, temporary events would be like the Tractor Supply, for example, when they have their thing out in the parking lot. And they put in for that actually when they, I think, built the store, that became one of their conditional use permit, is covered under that. But had they not done that, it would be simply a temporary use permit. Like, hey, for example, grocery outlet says, hey, we want to have a car show in our parking lot. They'll need a temporary use permit. So,
Because it's a public parking lot?
well, because it's open to the public and they are blocking necessary public access, right? I mean, the access and everything like that. And it's, again, it comes under the planning rules. So don't want to speak too much to it, but
What
just
if-
from an enforcement side, when we go out, we're looking for that permit. If it's on a weekend or something like that, we're looking for that permit to be like, okay, people that are complaining, they have a permit, it's legitimate, there's no reason to harass them. So typically, if we get a complaint like from code enforcement, we'll pull that application, that permit that was approved by council, and we call the person who is organizing it. And oftentimes we will either deal with them on the phone or meet them kind of off to the side. For example, we've had them where they were attaching stuff to city trees. Meet with them and be like, hey, this isn't our event. We don't really want to go in there and be too heavy handed, but could you go talk to your vendor that you are allowing to be here and have them, take those things off the city trees or the city poles? Or
How about not closing down streets? What if we want to utilize the park?
that would be a community civic event. That is still public property and public access. So
But as far as having a theme, Christmas, we're all gonna keep our shops open or something like that, and we're not shutting down the streets, I think that's something
We can just
businesses could just get
collaborate
together and
together.
do.
Yeah.
So to your point about that, and it's good to know all the layers, right? But to your point about that, if we come up with something that we wanna try, and it's simple like that, and it's hot chocolate on, this date or something, and we're gonna do this,
Santa's
special.
gonna be in one and the Grinch will be in another.
Right,
For both
something
of them.
like that, where you're just inviting people downtown, I don't think you have any issues
No.
with that.
No,
That's just,
there wouldn't-
that's just us maybe creating the theme and getting everybody.
yeah, no, that's no different than the neighborhood getting together and say, hey, we're gonna theme our Christmas lights this year. So people will come look at our neighborhood. You don't need a permit.
I just think it's important though, when you guys are doing your block parties and things of that nature, that you're respectful to the businesses that are actually there already. Like you guys are having one this weekend and you guys are putting a beer garden right in front of the palace with the bar right there. That's impeding on my business and that's not right. You guys have the Mecca who is sponsoring that. They should be able to do that in front of their business. I don't understand why we're doing that in front of the palace. I wouldn't do that to you guys and that's disrespectful. And this is.
And I heard what Sam's saying on this, was talking about it too. It's in our, see, it's right here in number. We talked about this before, and I want to make sure we're on the same page here because Sam brings up a good point. Just gonna find my notes. So in events and experiences, Katie, we have like focus times and themes, that's under number 5. But there was one here for hierarchy.
No, I believe I saw in here somewhere where it said to, ensure that downtown businesses were given priority over and keeping of bringing in other outlets. Something along those.
Yeah, I think it's also under here too, so it's number 5. I'm not finding my notes, but I think we addressed this here, and we're not gonna address it in this meeting, because I would suggest that we all keep a close eye on this event that's coming up and take some notes. And then we can use that in this committee to refine whatever is not working well. I know
That being one.
And I understand his point.
I do
because-
too.
Cause like when they would do the Irish Festival, there's booths that sell inexpensive jewelry, but they're still selling jewelry. I sell some sterling silver stuff too. I don't want their booth right in front of my jewelry store.
Well, I get
One of your
it.
guys' members went to Port Richards and said, if you guys don't sell pizza at our event, then we're gonna find someone else to sell pizza. Like, that's strong arming another business to do that. That's not the right thing to do. That's just making you guys not look so good.
I agree with Sam. I mean, I don't want a real estate office putting up or a property management office putting up a booth in front of my office. I mean, that's sort of counterproductive for what we're trying to do is when we're bringing business downtown. And we could possibly approach to see if maybe Mistaken can move his instead
just
of
makes it-
put it down on Mill.
It just makes that business look bad because my customers come in and go, my God, did you see what they're doing? And they just.
Well, all right, I'm gonna give you guys let's do a homework assignment on this. The Redo It Committee's gonna do a block party.
Yeah.
Let's all attend if we can, and let's go and do some observations, and let's come back and set it, because we set it here in number 4 today as a scheduled matter, that if we had outside groups that we would have partnerships, and that if we had block parties, event planning, and businesses have some hierarchy considerations.
Correct.
Which is, we all agreed on this. Sam's bringing it up. It sounds like we might have an opportunity right in front of us to observe that, and then let's wrestle it to the ground and make some rules so that if that is happening, that we fix it. And so no matter who is having an event, we make sure we protect our businesses.
Correct. And at the end of the day, that our goal is just to bring people downtown.
Right.
But we need to do it properly. Agreed.
I agree.
Okay, so I'll throw on here, this is an action item for us.
I'm doing my Oktoberfest that day, so I'll already be down there. Got 4 cakes from Germany brought in. We're doing our big 1 liter Steins.
Cool.
Fun event, doing bratwurst.
You made my wife happy the other day, telling me about where I could go get her.
And then that day, my shipment came in.
Did it? Well, I'll still come get it from you, but that
So
particular day made my
You
wife.
don't have, are you have a?
Raspberry seltzer.
At the, you're gonna do it on the
Samson,
Oh.
like make those glasses read.
Well, yeah, I know, that's why we can send it down, that's why.
Glasses.
I didn't know if you wanted to move, moving it now or the night.
Do that. At the restaurant, you can't just pack up and go outside.
Just
sell
move
on
down the
street.
street.
And I'm married a Mexican woman picking it up.
So there are some
Than Jewish
limitations
stuff,
to
you know?
What do you guys have?
What day is the block party?
Tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow.
Saturday.
Saturday, this Saturday.
Saturday, 5 to 8.
Okay.
Anybody want a flyer?
5 to 8 in the evening
Oh, here it is.
on a Saturday?
Yes.
And there's a dog parade.
Dog parade.
You didn't know that's dog parade?
There's a dog parade
We have 10 dog entries
with prizes.
with price.
Dog parade.
Well, let's go down there and do some observations and bring some feedback to the committee, because whenever anyone, whether it's redo it or someone is gonna do a public event, then we need to make sure that this committee is setting the standard for what they will follow. So it meshes. So it's not that if someone comes in and they want to do a car show, we make sure that these hierarchy and these rules are followed to Sam's.
By the way, I talked to a gentleman in my store and they would love to bring the car show that's now at Veterans Park back to Main Street.
Well,
Yeah, I've talked to them too, and they were all,
They would love to come back to Main Street. I don't know what happened.
I do. It was, the chamber wanted to make the money off.
Yeah, that was a complaint.
And the problem is that the car show people, they've got an investment in it too, but the chamber didn't want them to get any money out of it. So I don't blame them for moving to Veterans Park where they can control it and they can make money for their club. They're the ones that put out the brochures. I always run an ad in their brochures to support them.
this is a chamber event, but that one wouldn't be. And so the downtown committee, and we're all here to talk about this. The goal of downtown is for all organizations, not just the chamber.
Correct.
So when we set this up and we can learn some things from the events that are happening, the ones coming up, and make sure that we do right by everybody that's gonna be, because the city, you guys have to understand, the city is now going to put a whole bunch of resources. We're talking about having limited resources. But they have to have a traffic pattern, they have to have extra staff, they have to do a bunch of things to make this happen. And so we gotta make sure that those trade-offs are, the juice is worth the squeeze, so to speak, because it's gonna cost the city X amount of dollars every time one of these events happens. And
With the
staff-
road closures. and
with the
stuff.
road closures, right? And so I love the idea that we're talking about doing things without road closures, but I think the road closures are part of this, but we need to I'm gonna ask the question about how much does it cost? So that we can understand the cost benefit analysis when we talk about it. So I just want to make that point about it. It's important because we want to be good steward of all of our resources and keep the focus on some of these other things. We don't want to trade this focus for shutting down the streets.
I'm gonna ask also, and I probably gonna be a finance question. I know there's a cannabis tax. And where those funds are dedicated or allocated to be used.
Okay, that's all on the record already.
Okay.
So after the meeting, let's talk about that. I can provide some information to you. There is some money available there and some money being allocated and distributed. Good question. Now I'm gonna go to number 6. We talked about quite a bit, you guys, already about the downtown parking and pathways because of this. So I want to go through that unless anybody wants to stop on parking again. I want to go to 7. This will be where we'll finish. We have a vendor license to sell bread sidewalk vendor right out here. The bread is excellent.
Love it,
It's super, right?
love it.
And that's our first sidewalk vendor.
And the cinnamon rolls.
Yes, they're
You had
excellent.
those
They're
yet?
sourdough.
Oh my God,
They killer.
they're
It's all
incredible.
local, right?
And it's a local, it's Porterville Bread Company. They have
Yeah.
3 different breads. I've tried all 3 of them. They're delicious. Sourdough, big sourdough thing.
When is this happening?
Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 5:30.
And he cooks them the day that he sells them.
And you can pre-order stuff online at portervillebreadcompany.com. See, I got it all down.
Will you deliver?
Is the same gentleman that's also now going to be putting his breads in steppers?
Yes.
Yes, I think so. So this goes back to the hierarchy conversation too, because this can get cluttered and messy if we let it,
If you let everybody put a pop-up stand.
well, if everybody did it all at once, it'd be a mess. It's not happening. But here, we want to regulate it to a degree, not to stop it, but to make sure when it's done right. And it leads me to this conversation. We're gonna have some parades coming up at Christmas. We have veterans coming up. We do Cinco de Mayo. We had a bunch of hot dog,
Yeah, like 25 hot dogs.
25 hot dog carts that descended on Porterville without a license, selling food. And everybody thought it was legit. It was not legit.
So is there some way that when they apply and they get approved, we can give them some sort of a badge or something that
Placard
shows
of some
a
sort.
placard to put on their cart that says approved,
Yes, we're in the
So we
process
know.
of regulating this.
and then that way we don't, if they don't
It's
have.
not so much the guys
We
that's
don't do
selling the stuff
Why isn't
when
it
he's walking
so
down
much
because
better?
it's been a tradition, but that has to be regulated.
I was gonna say, well, how do you discriminate or choose one over the other?
So the sidewalk vendor is the idea. And we have to regulate that because we don't want to have a bunch of people that just drive in from the city and start making money off of people that aren't licensed, that don't have their health cards and all
Like they
those
do
things.
now, selling the food out of the back of their car.
Right.
which is
What do we
close
do
by
if
from-
we see that happening?
I'll code enforcement.
Well,
You
I
wanna write that down?
don't want to put you on the spot, Clayton, but how do you envision us regulating that if we get this?
And I want to appreciate Clayton too, because it got really bad. We're at 4 or 5 a day sitting out front of my place before I'd open selling food and a lot of it.
I have 5 people come to me a day,
But I
every day.
notified Clayton and Clayton cleaned it up and we didn't have a problem for a very long time, but now they are back.
So we might, let me say it this way. It might mean that we're gonna need some extra resources to do some code enforcement during the parades, which is problematic. We gotta get the information out there so that doesn't become a problem.
Historically, the community civic event is sponsored by an agency, for example, the Chamber of Commerce. And we don't like to muddle our enforcement with their activity. They typically have a list of vendors that are approved. And it has historically been incumbent upon the organizers of that to police their own kind of, hey, you're not allowed to be here, you need to go. And if the people don't listen, then they can contact the police to have that person removed
Okay.
from the boundaries of their event. Because we don't know necessarily, and we're not all gonna have that list like out there, oh my gosh, is this a licensed vendor that they put on their list and they're allowed to be here, so like, we don't know, right? There's a lot of that stuff. And sometimes we don't get the lists till the very last minute because, oh, well, we're still trying to get vendors for the event. So historically, we have placed that responsibility on the organizers of that event, unless it's a city event. There are a lot of,
Like the Christmas parade.
that's
That's
typically,
did by
that's
Rotary.
right. Rotary would have their officers or people from their organization out. And if they see somebody that's not supposed to be there because they know the list of people, they can ask that person to leave. If they don't leave, just like anything else, they can have the police come and say, you need to go.
Is it Chamber or is it Rotary? Who does Christmas?
I think,
Rotary.
yeah,
Is it Rotary?
It's the new Rotary.
Are you sure?
It was.
I thought it was Chamber.
Chamber.
I think the Christmas is the chamber and I think it's. the chamber.
And then,
Maybe the Rotary gave it
American Legion does the parade for
a veterans.
veterans.
But
Again,
I'm just going to this point where I think we need to talk to the chamber about this, because the chamber was asking for help. But in this is a gray area.
this is historically how it's been handled. Again,
A parade is a
Yeah.
parade, it's not a selling
The,
event.
the other thing that comes into play is the state's deregulation on sidewalk vendors or mobile vendors. And so how those things interact with each other. There's been some Senate bills that were passed in 2018 and 2022 that significantly impact our ability to enforce on sidewalk vending. Yeah, significant.
And like around Valentine's, Christmas, you see all these people out on the corners
Do they
selling.
have-
So we can go after them. Yes, they do have to have permits, so we can go after them for business license, and we typically do, right? We take it down to what's the most basic thing they don't have. You don't have a business license, you gotta go. Because at the very minimum, they need to have a business license, right? In addition to the business license, if they're selling food, they've got a health department permit. There's a lot of things that come into
Doesn't
play.
that be prepackaged as well?
There is for prepackaged, and then there is for setting up for like a taco stand. Now, they can legitimately set up on a corner in front of Sam's business, as long as they're not impeding and leaving some of the sidewalk open. They can set up and sell tacos out there if they want.
If they have a
Perfectly
permit.
licensed. They have the proper permits and
Does the permit have to state where they're doing it?
not necessarily.
Vendors are given a sign.
There are restrictions where permanent setups like that can't be in a residential zone, but we cannot prohibit mobile vendors in residential zones. People.
But we could prohibit it in the downtown zone.
We may not be able to. We'd have to look at the Senate bill and everything there.
Okay, so we have an action item. Like,
Yeah.
you and I are gonna talk about this
Mhm.
because we have to provide a solution. We have these parades coming up. We want to make sure that we provide a solution because it's a problem.
Could I add a comment?
Yes.
We do have a sidewalk vending ordinance in our municipal code,
Chapter 8A.
chapter 8A, and it does state that whenever we do have these community civic events, that sidewalk vendors are prohibited from operating within 500 feet of the permitted certified. For example, it states farmers market, swap meets, temporary use permits, or community civic events for duration of the permit.
That's the solution.
So
We already have it.
So no sidewalk vendors during a parade, is what you're saying?
During the event, yeah, within 500 feet.
500 feet, which,
Mhm.
so they could be off on D Street, or they could be off on Second Street.
That's generally where they set up.
Unless they're a vendor part of the application.
Yeah, unless they're part of the event.
Event, but walking.
So we would want to encourage anybody that's in the event to regulate it and to promote it if they're gonna sell something and to police it, because we would be the escalation.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want that to get out of control. It was out of control last Christmas. We want to get that back under control.
All right, I don't mean to say that we
All right.
cut this off.
That's the end.
I've got a luncheon to go
And the
to.
Christmas
today.
parade is a joint venture
It is?
of Rotary.
Okay, Rotary and Chamber. All right, well, this has been a great meeting and appreciate your time. No other comments? Thank you all for coming. This meeting is adjourned.